Good day, everyone. This is I Am, and welcome back to I Am Vibes. For today's lesson, we are going to discuss the intersubjective human relations. Each of our relationships elicits different responses in ourselves that help us to grow and learn about ourselves. Relationships often are the glue that holds us together during times of stressful situations and when we face life difficulties. Without relationships, we would have a deadened spirit and a lack of connection to our true selves. Relationships show us how to love and be loved as well as who we want to be in life and who we do not want. Having serious, trusting relationships allows us to be truly our true selves. There is no question of how people around us give importance to our life. We need someone who can understand us and share with our feelings that later create a strong bond. While creating this strong bond, an attraction between individuals brings us closer to each other and eventually results in a strong interpersonal relationship. Try to examine the following situations below and answer the processing questions that follow. In situation 1, Joseph, a bank manager, has a breadwinner staff that usually comes to her work tardy because she takes care of her mother first before going to work. This staff comes up with brilliant idea during their meeting and treats everyone with respect. Joseph sees his staff as a subject that he listens to and gives importance. Such things motivate his staff to give her best. They start treating office and work as a happy place to work with. In the situation 2, Judel, a CEO, has a servant named Ira. Ira is Judel's slave and always refers to him as a master or sir. Ira is required to do all things expected from a slave. She cooks Master Judel's food, sorts his emails, does his washing, and completes any other menial task that he requires, and others without asking the reason of his maltreatment. Judel sees Ira as an object to carry and do his stuff immediately that makes his whole life easier. Now, let us process these questions. What are the similarities and differences you have noticed between Joseph and Judel? Which situation offers appropriate human treatment and why do you think so? Do you think interpersonal skills are important? Why? A human person can show different human relations to his or her fellow human. He or she can treat one as an object or as a subject. Now let us try to understand intersubjectivity. Imagining how you relate to your family and friends is a good way to think about intersubjectivity. For instance, your mother enjoyed dancing Zumba every morning and took you with her when she practiced, and you always had a good time. Growing up, you decided to join the school Zumba. If your mother had not danced Zumba when you were growing up, you may not have grown to like the dance. Your experience with Zumba can be called intersubjective because it was influenced by another person, which is your mother. To better understand intersubjectivity, we first need to define a subject and an object. In an English dictionary, a subject means the person who is experiencing an action or event, while an object is what is being experienced by that person. Philosophically speaking, an object is something metaphysical, real, and existing independent in our perception of it. A subject, on the other hand, is something which observes, usually a person or observer of the same kind. When we say something is subjective, we mean that it is factually true. When we say something is subjective, we mean that it is based on an opinion or a biased viewpoint and not on a hard fact. On the other hand, in a subjective relationship, a human person gives respect to each other's personhood as he or she sees himself or herself to that person. Whereas, in an objective relationship, there are situations in which a person treats another person not as human, who is supposedly valued, but as an object to be benefited and sometimes disrespected. Hence, intersubjectivity means a subjective interaction between two persons or among more subjective minds where there is an involvement of opinion. Interobjectivity, on the other hand, means an agreement on experiences and observations without involving emotions and feelings. So, for example, when three persons see a train, they can agree that it is a train. The agreement is objective because it is based on empirical evidence that they have all seen and observed the train. On the other hand, when three persons agree that the train looks elegant and flashy, their agreement becomes intersubjective because elegance and flashiness depend only on their ideas and opinions. What is the difference between treating a person objectively and subjectively? Mabacchio Jr. of 2017 offers two levels of explanation on the guide question, treating a person objectively and subjectively. First, the theoretical level and the practical level. For the theoretical level, it considers how a person sees, perceives, understands, or knows the other person concerning his or her concepts in categories. First one is seeing another person as a subject. It sees someone as conscious and free and treated as a person with equal respect. And the other one is seeing a person as an object. It sees someone as something unconscious and unfree and treated as a non-person, benefited without respect. Another level is a practical level which considers how the person's actions towards the other person relate to his or her interests, desires, and preferences. First one, we have treating other person as means. One necessarily disregard the person's interest. The person is being used to satisfy one's interest. For example, if Juan steals the money of Pedro for Juan's interest. The other one is treating other person as an end. One necessarily considers the person's interests by sacrificing his or her own. So for example, Juan makes a sacrifice by donating his blood to Pedro to satisfy Pedro's need or interest. It is important to know the difference between the two terms. Intersubjectivity is a kind of relationship which considered is subject to subject or person to person way of relating. Below are the two of the philosophical perspectives in understanding the intersubjective relationship. The phenomenology of intersubjective relationship. First one, we have Jürgen Habermas, which is the theory of communicative action. Jürgen Habermas is a German sociologist and philosopher. He introduced a path leading to mutual understanding through his theory of communication. He believed that speech acts or dialogues were predominant means by which understanding is achieved. He formulated 4 test or validity claims on comprehensibility, truth, truthfulness, and rightness that must occur in conversation to achieve mutual understanding. Let us discuss the theory of communicative action. We have, first one, comprehensibility, where both speaker and hearer must use comprehensible expression in which both understand and pertains to the use of ordinary or native language, in which both speaker and hearer are familiar with, and thus understanding will be achieved. Second is a truth, where the speaker should use a true proposition so that the hearer can share in the speaker's knowledge. It refers to how true the uttered statement about objective facts. So for example, if a customer asks a waiter for a glass of water, the request will surely be understood and it will be granted. But if a customer asks for a kryptonite salad, in which the restaurant does not serve, for confusion and misunderstanding between the customer and waiter. Next one is a truthfulness, where the speaker must be truthful in his intention to elicit trust from the hearer. It pertains to the genuine intention of the speaker, which is essential for the hearer's gaining trust. And so, when the request for a kryptonite salad is made and the waiter is familiar with the customer as the regular visitor, then the request will be received as a joke, and in which case, usually give smile to the waiter or open for a casual conversation between the two. If the customer is a stranger and worse, the request is given with a serious face, the waiter for sure feels discomfort, confusion, and perhaps even threatened by the customer's behavior. These feelings become now a hindrance to understanding and the beginning of rejection. Lastly, we have the rightness, where both speaker and hearer must agree on the right utterance with respect to a recognized normative background. It pertains to the acceptable tone and pitch of voice and expressions. A low and gentle voice makes us calm and relax, and in certain situations makes us recognize the sincere words of the others. Habermas' 4 tests of validity claims are significant factors for authentic dialogue to occur, leading to a better relationship. His theory of communication reminds us of the importance of authentic communication to end conflicts, avoidance of misunderstanding, and establishment of intersubjective relationships. It would be hard for us to understand the others or to recognize those people with disabilities, the underprivileged, and the LGBT group unless we sit down and talk to them with open ears and compassionate heart. Sincere dialogue builds bridges by encouraging individuals' collaboration in the creation of a commonly shared world where everyone could live in harmony and unity while maintaining his or her diversity. This lesson will further discuss on the next module. Another philosophical perspective is from Martin Buber, or the I-thou relationship. Martin Buber of 1878 to 1965 is a Jewish philosopher, became famous through his 1923 philosophical writings entitled I and Thou, or Each and Thou. The major theme of the book is that authentic human existence manifests in genuine dialogue with each other, with the world, and even with God. Now let us discuss the I-thou relationship of Martin Buber. Let's have it. The first one, the I-it mode, which refers to experience. A man collects data of the world, analyzes, classifies, and theorizes about them through experience. Since everyone has different experiences, there is no real relationship occurs, for the I is acting more as an observer while its object, the it, is more of receiver of the I's interpretation. The it is viewed as a thing to be utilized, a thing to be known, or put some purpose. Thus, there is a distance between experiencing I and the experienced it, for the former acts as the subject and the latter as a passive object, a mere recipient of the act. Since no relationship occurs in experience, the I lacks authentic existence, for it's not socially growing or developing, perhaps only gaining knowledge about the object. So, for Buber, unless the I meets another I, that is, another subject of experience, the relationship is never established. Only when there is an I encounter can there be an experience. Another relationship by Martin Buber is known as the I-thou mode, which refers to an encounter. Both the I and the other enter into a genuine relationship as active participants. In this relationship, human beings do not perceive each other as consisting of specific, isolated qualities, but engage in a dialogue involving each other's whole being, and in which the others is transformed into a thou or you. This treating the other as you and not an it is, for Buber, made possible by love, because in love, subjects do not perceive each other as object but subjects. Love, for Buber, should not be understood as merely a mental or psychological state of the lovers, but as a genuine relationship between the loving being. Hence, for Buber, love is an I-thou relation in which both subjects share a sense of caring, respect, commitment, and responsibility. In this relationship, therefore, all living beings meet each other as having a unity of being and engage in a dialogue involving each other's whole being. By valuing the others, we also encourage or give them a reason to value us. Authenticity, therefore, lies in reciprocal intersubjective relations wherein, despite our differences, we recognize each other as humans. The others are not means, tools, or instruments for the fulfillment of my whims, but rather they are a companion of life, a friend to rely on, a person worthy to live with. An authentic I-thou mode of human relationship is significantly essential more than ever. For Habermas, we could not establish a genuine relationship with others unless we assure that our communication would lead us to mutual respect and understanding. On the other hand, Buber believes more that the presence of others complements our existence, helping us achieve an authentic living through a relationship founded on love for others. Each theory has given us important insights on how to start, maintain, and deepen our intersubjective relationship with others. Now, let us discuss the authentic dialogue is accepting others regardless of individual differences. We have our own differences and we have labels toward one another. We have our own unique way of living in this society with different appearances or points of view. But despite of our differences, we should not forget the holistic perspectives towards everything. We are to be regarded in our totality because of our rationality and the ability to design the negative labels to something new and exciting. With the holistic points of view, we are making negative labels into positive ones that can strengthen not just our relationships among our friends, but most especially to our family. No human relation is perfect. Being authentic and being genuine can be well explained by individual habits and lifestyles. If we are authentic, then we would be caring and careful to explain or make a dialogue which better suits the individual traits and bring the best of them and the others as human. Martin Heidegger says that humankind is a conversation. That conversation is more than an idle talk but a dialogue. Language, as one of the human possession, creates the human world. A dialogue is a conversation that is attuned to each other and to whatever they are talking about. Attunement describes how reactive a person is to another's emotional needs and moods. A well-attuned person will respond with appropriate language and behaviors based on another person's emotional state. For Heidegger, all conversations are one conversation, the subject of which is being may be God, Tao, or Yahweh. A conversation that Heidegger envisages is creative, poetic, and deep that allows humanity to exist as more than entities. For Heidegger, a conversation attempts to articulate who and what we are, not as particular individuals but as human beings. We are human beings who care about more than information and gratification. For Buber, as mentioned earlier, a life of dialogue is mutual sharing of our inner selves in the realm of interhuman. Between two persons is a mutual awareness of each other as persons, avoiding objectification. Being is presenting what one is to present to other one's real self. Personal making entails the affirmation of the other one's real self. An authentic dialogue entails a person-to-person, a mutual sharing of selves, acceptance, and sincerity. Heidegger and Buber talk about the same type of relation, that is, a dialogue of human beings based on the mutual understanding of selves, acceptance, and sincerity. Perhaps, the only way to peace is for every person to recognize the value of others and establish an authentic relationship centered on unconditional love. Please try to remember some of the terms. Way of seeming, operated on the level of impression, hinders the I-thou relationship. Interhuman refers to the life between and among persons who are non-interchangeable and non-objectifiable. Intersubjectivity refers to the condition of a human being, a subject, among other human beings who are also subjects. Social refers to the life of the group bound together with common reactions and experiences. Speechifying refers to one's talking past another, it is hearing without listening. Thank you so much for attentively listening to our lesson. This time, let us now proceed to the assessment section. Thank you so much for watching. I am Vibes.